Wow. Talk about a statement win. I mean, India just completely dismantled Australia in that Champions Trophy semifinal.
Yeah, absolutely dominant performance.
Dubai was absolutely buzzing on March 9th. The atmosphere, the energy, just electric. And I know you're all keen to unpack this match with us, so let's dive straight into it. It wasn't just about the win, right? It was the way they did it. What did you make of that initial target that Australia set? 264 runs.
Yeah, I mean, 264, that's not a bad total at all, especially, knowing Australia, they can put up some serious runs. Against a different team, maybe on a different day, who knows? Could have been enough. But not against this Indian side, not with Kohli in the mood he was
All
in.
right. It's like 264.
Yeah,
Seemed like a pretty steep climb, but then Kohli walks in, and it almost felt like, well, insignificant. This guy, he's called the chase master for a reason.
totally. You watch him bat, 84 runs off 98 balls. It's textbook controlled aggression.
Wow.
Every shot, every move calculated. It wasn't just about smashing boundaries. It was like he was picking apart their entire bowling strategy with each stroke.
It was almost like he knew exactly what they were going to throw at him before they even did it. And yeah, it wasn't all just Kohli's brilliance either.
Absolutely. He had a stellar performance, no doubt. But you can't forget the others, the guys who played their roles perfectly. Shreyas Iyer, solid knock, 45 runs. He was like the perfect counterbalance to Kohli's aggression.
Yeah, that partnership, Kohli and Iyer. Turning point of the match, don't you think?
Absolutely. 91 run stand just demoralized the Aussie bowlers. You could see it on their faces, the frustration building with each run. They were rotating the strike, taking calculated risks, and just punishing any loose deliveries that came their way.
And those sixes from Pandya. Talk about impact. His quick 28 runs, I mean, that really injected some energy into the chase.
Yeah, Pandya, classic example of finishing strong. Comes in with a clear mindset, score quickly, and boy did he deliver. Every one of those sixes was like a shot of adrenaline straight into the heart of the Indian innings.
I felt like the whole stadium was going to erupt every time he connected. So much energy.
Those are the moments, right? That's what makes cricket such a thrilling sport. And it wasn't just about individual moments of brilliance. It was a complete team performance. Everyone played their part.
Speaking of individual brilliance, we got to talk about Kohli's stats.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know he now holds the record for the fastest batsman to 8,000 ODI runs and chases? Surpassed the legendary Sachin Tendulkar. Just incredible.
That's huge, especially when you think about Tendulkar, right? What he means to Indian cricket, one of the greats, maybe the greatest. And for Kohli to break his records speaks volumes about his talent and his dedication to the game.
And it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
India's highest scorer in Champions Trophy history, most half-centuries in ICC ODI tournaments, breaking Tendulkar's records left and right.
Yeah, this cements him, right?
Yeah.
As a modern-day icon of the sport. But even legends, face their challenges. Don't forget, India had a bit of a shaky start, losing both Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill early on.
True, those early wickets, that could really put them on the back foot. Rohit gone to Cooper Connolly, and then Gill bowled by Ben Dwarshuis. Could have been a completely different game if they hadn't, recovered so well.
Yeah, and you have to give credit where credit is due. That recovery, a lot of it was down to the partnership between Kohli and Iyer. And of course, Adam Zampa, he's got Kohli's number, managed to dismiss him again in this match.
Zampa, he's like Kohli's kryptonite. But thankfully, the damage was already done by the time he got him out.
Exactly. And let's not forget the bowlers who really set the stage for that incredible chase.
You talk about Mohammed Shami. I mean, he was phenomenal, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Picking up those 3 crucial wickets.
Shami, always a big game player, shows up when it matters most, especially in these ICC tournaments. Consistent performer. And, while we're talking about the bowlers, can't leave out Chakravarti and Jadeja.
Right. Kept things really tight, didn't they? Kept that pressure on the Aussie batsmen throughout the innings.
Yep. Kept that middle order in check. Never really let them build any real partnerships. You have to give Smith and Carey some credit. They put up a good fight. 79 and 61 runs, that's respectable, but just not enough to counter that Indian dominance on the day.
Yeah, resilient, but in the end, India's bowling attack just proved too strong. So now, the big question, right? Who's next? New Zealand or South Africa in the final? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, both of those teams, they bring their own unique set of challenges. New Zealand, they've got a knack for upsetting India in these ICC tournaments. Can't underestimate them. And South Africa, I mean, they can crumble under pressure, but they also have this potential to just explode,
Yeah.
rise to the occasion.
This final in Dubai, It's going to be a thriller.
It really is, anyone's game at this point. New Zealand, South Africa both got what it takes to make this final a real nail-biter. But, before we get into all that, those potential matchups, I think it's worth just taking a step back, appreciating what this Indian team has done.
Yeah, for sure. This wasn't just some fluke win against Australia, right? It's part of a bigger story, this consistent success they've been having. What do you think it is? What's driving this incredible run?
Well, I mean, first off, the talent pool is just ridiculous. We talked about Kohli, right? But there's this whole wave of young players coming up, stepping up, making their mark. Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, these are names we're going to be hearing a lot more of, in the years to come.
That's crazy, right? Every year, it seems like there's even more talent emerging. Just adds another layer to this, well, already formidable team.
It really says something about the strength of their domestic cricket structure. You look at tournaments like the IPL, they've been crucial. This platform for young players to, hone their skills, get used to those high-pressure situations.
The IPL, it's like a breeding ground for talent, isn't it? You got these young Indian players playing alongside against some of the biggest names in the world, learning from the best.
Exactly. And that kind of exposure, it's invaluable. Not only does it raise the level of the game, it gives these young guys a sense of confidence, fearlessness.
So it's safe to say then that this Indian dominance, it's not just a flash in the pan, right?
Oh, absolutely not. This is built to last. You got a strong domestic structure, passionate fans, a culture that really nurtures young talent, a winning mentality. All of that has contributed to, well, India becoming this powerhouse in cricket.
Exciting time to be an Indian cricket fan, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of the world, the global cricketing landscape? How do you think this Indian dominance is affecting other teams?
Well, it's a wake-up call, right? It's forcing other cricketing nations to look in the mirror a bit, rethink their strategies, invest in developing their own young talent, find new ways to counter what India brings to the table.
So it's like a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. This level of competition, it pushes everyone to be better, and ultimately the sport benefits as a whole.
Okay, let's shift gears a little back to that final. We've talked a lot about India's strengths, but what about their potential opponents? New Zealand first. They've had some pretty impressive wins lately, especially in ICC tournaments. They've even upset India in the past.
New Zealand, you can never count them out. They peak at the right time.
Yeah.
And their bowling attack, with Bolt and Southey leading the charge, it's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, they can really exploit any weaknesses in a batting lineup.
Oh, for sure. And their batting. Don't underestimate it. Kane Williamson, their captain, he's a genius tactically and one of the most technically sound batsmen in the game.
But they've also, they have this reputation, right? Faltering under pressure. The choker's tag, especially in big finals.
True, they have stumbled in the past, but this team, I think they've learned from those experiences. They're playing with a different kind of confidence now.
So you wouldn't rule them out as potential winners then?
Not at all. If they keep their cool, play to their strengths, they could definitely upset India.
All right, let's talk about South Africa. On paper, they have everything they need to win, but they just haven't been able to, put it all together in these big tournaments.
Yeah, the choker's tag, it hangs over them too, doesn't it? They have this history of just, tripping up in the worst possible moment. It's been their Achilles heel for years.
But they have a new captain now, Temba Bavuma. And it seems like they're playing with a new purpose. Do you think this could be the tournament where they finally break that curse?
It's possible. Bavuma brings a calmness, a composure to the leadership role. And you look at the players he has, Quinton de Kock, explosive batsman at the top of the order, their bowling attack, Rabada, Norcha, they can be lethal on their day.
So if South Africa makes it to that final, what do you think will be the key for them?
Their mental game, for sure. They need to believe in themselves, stay focused when the pressure's on, and avoid those critical mistakes that have haunted them in the past.
It's all about conquering those inner demons, huh?
Exactly. If they can do that, overcome those mental hurdles, they have a real shot at challenging India. But it's not going to be easy.
It's going to be a battle, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We've talked about the challenges from New Zealand, South Africa, but India's carrying the weight of expectations too, right? They're the favorites. There's going to be pressure to deliver, especially with how dominant they've been.
Oh, yeah, that pressure being the favorites, it can be immense. But this Indian team, they've shown time and time again, they actually thrive under pressure. They got the experience, the talent, the mental toughness to handle it.
It's going to be an epic final, no matter who India ends up facing. We've covered a lot, but there's one thing we haven't really touched on yet. The
Yeah.
fans. The impact this team has on the fans.
Ah, the fans. The lifeblood of any sport.
Right. Cricket in India, it's more than just a game, it's a religion. And this current run they're on, it's just ignited this wave of passion, excitement across the country.
It's amazing to see. The stadiums are packed, the streets are alive, social media is buzzing. This team has given them something to believe in, something to dream about, to celebrate.
It's like this collective euphoria, bringing people together from all walks of life.
Cricket has always had that power in India, bringing people together. And this success, it's just amplified it tenfold. Beautiful thing to see.
It really is. All right, listeners, that's a wrap for part 2 of our deep dive into India's journey to the Champions Trophy final. We broke down their strengths, looked at the potential challenges from their opponents, and talked about the impact this all has on the fans.
Join us for part 3, where we'll take a look at the future of Indian cricket, talk about what this dominance means for the sport as a whole, and leave you with something to think about as we get ready for that final showdown in Dubai.
Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into India's incredible run to the Champions Trophy final. We've seen their dominance, analyzed those potential opponents, even felt the energy of the fans, the incredible wave of support. But now, I think it's time to look ahead. What does all this mean for the future of Indian cricket?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This goes beyond just one tournament. This is about a level of excellence that we haven't seen consistently, and it's changing the whole landscape of the sport. And what's really interesting to me is it's not just Kohli, right? Or the experience of those veteran players. It's the sheer depth of talent that's so impressive.
Yeah, we keep talking about this new generation of players, and honestly, it's almost scary how good they are, how consistently they perform. Does this feel like, I don't know, the start of a golden age for Indian cricket?
It sure looks that way. The foundation is there. It's solid. We talked about it, that domestic structure, the IPL, those tournaments, they're churning out these incredibly talented players. Just imagine, year after year, playing with, against some of the best in the world. That's how you accelerate growth.
It's like this constant cycle of learning, competing, improving, and getting better and better.
Exactly. And it's more than just the skills, right? It's the mental game. Being exposed to that pressure, understanding different playing styles, developing that toughness, you end up with this generation of players who are fearless, adaptable, confident.
So the future of Indian cricket, we're looking at a pretty bright, no, like a dazzling future.
Dazzling is the word. This level of talent, the passion of those fans, that support system that keeps churning out new players, it's all there, Indian cricket's in a great place.
It's got to be exciting for the fans, but what about the other teams, the other cricketing nations? I mean, looking at this Indian team, it's got to be a little intimidating.
It's a challenge, no doubt, but it's also a motivator. It's forcing other teams to up their game, invest in their own systems, focus on developing young talent, analyze what India is doing, try to find those weaknesses.
So you could say that India is actually raising the bar for the entire sport.
I think so. This kind of competition, it's healthy. It pushes everyone to innovate, to evolve, and in the end, that makes cricket better all around the world.
Okay, players, the structure, global impact, we've talked about it all, but we can't forget the fans. What role did they play in all of this, that passionate Indian cricket fan base?
They're the heart and soul, man. That unwavering support, that energy, that atmosphere they create in the stadiums, it's unlike anything else in sport.
It's more than just cheering for a team, right? It's like this shared passion, this collective identity that brings everyone together.
Absolutely. And this success, this run they're on, it's just amplified all of that sense of unity, of pride. When India wins, the whole nation celebrates. It's something special to see.
It really is. All right, as we wrap up our deep dive into India's journey, I want to leave everyone with this thought. Think about what this team represents, the skill, the dedication, the strategy, the support of millions of fans.
It's a testament to what can happen when you have all the right ingredients. Teamwork, nurturing talent, the spirit of a nation, all united by this love for the game.
It's a reminder that even when things are tough, when you face challenges, if you have that talent, that dedication, and you believe in yourself, anything is possible. So when you watch that final, remember, it's more than just a game. It's a story of passion, resilience, and the pursuit of excellence. And that's a wrap on our deep dive.